we are officially above my triple threat area. I believe as long as Bitcoin can, essentially just hold above this area, which is right now 25,275. Actually, I'm sorry, 25,454. Sorry, the moving average has gone up since the last time we looked at this chart. Then I honestly think we could be poised for a massive continuation of this move. Now, obviously, we are at currently a very important level, and I don't even have it drawn right here, but you could see right where we're sitting, right here. And look at this. You could see how we touched that area, right? We had, this support right here, this support right here, this support right here. So now that it's acting as resistance, that is something to consider, but it wouldn't be totally shocking and out of the cards to see a slight Bitcoin. We still have not had the guppy flipping into neutral, and we have not had the money flow back into the green. We have had wave edge flipping into purple. So we're still kind of waiting on 2 out of 3 of these. But, if we get these flipping on the weekly,
Bitcoin is still going strong after the weekend, breaking several primary resistances. While recording this video, it still hovers around the 28,000 price, which shows the move is not over, and as we can see, the Fear and Greed Index still shows high excitement levels in the crypto markets. As a matter of fact, this 68 is the highest level of greed we have seen in a whole year, reflecting the recent pumps. To help us understand better what's happening and what's coming next, in today's video, we will be commenting on a video from Crypto Zombie. If you haven't checked his YouTube channel, we will leave his link in the first comment below. His content is impressive, and he does a crazy good analysis of the current Bitcoin behavior. Watch this video until the end because this is likely the beginning of the bull run everyone was expecting.
But guys, we were talking about this triple threat theory for Bitcoin, and you can see right here, we finally closed this candle above all of these major levels. We are above the 50, above the 200, which makes us above the death cross, above the horizontal, and yes, we are above the major downwards sloping support, flipped into resistance, now hopefully flipping back into support. Now, this is absolutely crazy, guys. In fact, you can see that Goldman Sachs has come out with this year-to-date absolute, and pretty much, look at this, guys. Bitcoin is sitting right at the very top, right? There is a lot of things happening right now in the space. So some of the things that we need to discuss is the fact that we did break above this sort of triple threat area. Now, obviously, there is some minor things we do need to look at in the charts, right? We might be getting slightly overheated, right? But ultimately, what we have seen right now is all of this situation with the banking contagion really just ultimately being a giant advertisement for Bitcoin. And there are so many people that are shocked right now. They can't believe that Bitcoin is pumping. In fact, Bitcoin is up 40% since when we started to have this debacle with all of this contagion happening. So there is a little bit of a conspiracy, right? We are going to still touch upon this Operation Choke Point. Is the US really trying to cut off all that access? And this guy right here, you don't hear a lot about him, Michael S. Barr, the vice chair for supervision. Who is this guy? And what is really happening in the background? Now, thumbs up for this. We are officially above my triple threat area. I believe as long as Bitcoin can, essentially just hold above this area, which is right now 25,275. Actually, I'm sorry, 25,454. Sorry, the moving average has gone up since the last time we looked at this chart. Then I honestly think we could be poised for a massive continuation of this move. Now, obviously, we are at currently a very important level, and I don't even have it drawn right here, but you could see right where we're sitting, right here. And look at this. You could see how we touched that area, right? We had, this support right here, this support right here, this support right here. So now that it's acting as resistance, that is something to consider, but it wouldn't be totally shocking and out of the cards to see a slight Bitcoin correction. You could see, though, we did completely break out of this upwards channel, this parallel channel, and we've been above it for 4 straight days. So, I mean, realistically, guys, if we're above this channel for 3 more days, that's an entire week, right? It's not literally Monday to Sunday, but it is 7 days that we will have stayed. So thus far, 4 days, still holding above it. A little bit of a red candle today, but you can see there was more buying pressure from the bottom. And I just want to point out this VPVR. has actually built a very, very nice area of interest right here at around the $24,600 level. So you may see a lot of buyers stepping back in at that point, right?
So as we said at the beginning of this video, this is the highest level of greed we've seen in the markets since last year. So here's what Crypto Zombie has to say about that.
April, May, June, March. I'm sorry, March, April. I'm going backwards here. So right around here, guys. You know, so you see we had that euphoria and everybody got excited and then we just fell, right? So just be cautious about that. But this rally is a lot more significant, I think, than this one right here. Just because, you know, the percentage off the bottom has been absolutely incredible. And, you know, the one thing, like I did warn, is you can see that, remember I said anywhere within this blue zone is sort of just fair, kind of middle ground, we're just sort of bouncing around. Below this zone, you get down to this red, this is like super buy level, you get up to this green, now you're up to the second support, which is around 37,000. I don't know if we're going to get that high in this move, but, you know, for example, it wouldn't be impossible to see us have a retest, right, of this down here, right? So that we can now retest this resistance as support. Bitcoin comes back down to around that $25,300 level. And then maybe we make that next attempt up to around that 31,000 level, right? So just pointing that out, you know, understand these markets do ebb and flow. You know, is Bitcoin just going to parabolic all the way up to the moon? Probably not. Right? Probably not. People are going to take profits along the way. And this area right here, 30,000 specifically, I think you're going to see selling, personally. I think you're going to see a lot of people say, you know, I sat around this area for a year. I'm tired. I'm breaking even. I'm getting the heck out of the space, right? Because there are still probably some weak hands in here that are just hoping to get their money back. We still have not had the guppy flipping into neutral, and we have not had the money flow back into the green. We have had wave edge flipping into purple. So we're still kind of waiting on 2 out of 3 of these. But, you know, if we get these flipping on the weekly, I'm going to basically say that the bull run's back on, but I'm not going to say it just yet because I'm not seeing it. So yes, technically it's like, oh, well, you got to wait till we get all the way back to 30,000 and it missed the move. Well, we did double from 15 to 30. I mean, how many people have been bearish out there? I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but how many people have been bearish since 17, whatever? Maybe we do go lower. All I know is that we literally have gone from 15 almost up to 30. You basically could have doubled your money. And maybe made even some more if you got into those AI crypto altcoins, right? You can see that the dominance on Bitcoin is getting very high. So yeah, going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Guys, if you do want to learn how to trade this though, man, there's been so many opportunities. We basically go over it every day on the channel. I let you guys know transparently what's going on.
And now he also does an interesting analysis using some clips from Raoul Pal, where he also goes through macro and what's coming next to Bitcoin. Not only that, but this shows clearly what can happen if the US keeps neglecting the adoption and support of this technology and let other countries like the UK take their place. Check this out.
Let's start here. Credit Suisse has struck a deal with UBS for $3.2 billion in a rescue deal aimed at calming financial market panic triggered by the current American banking crisis. Both UBS and CS are regarded as being among the top 30 most important banks in the international monetary system, with the two lenders' combined assets totaling close to $1.7 trillion. So what does all of this mean? Well, it basically means like it looks like history's about to repeat, right? So I don't know if you guys saw this. I want to play some clips from this. Raoul Pal was over on Anthony Pompliano's channel, and they were discussing all kinds of macro situations. But, you know, one of the things that he asked him was basically, what is going to happen next for Bitcoin, right? And he was also asking him about what, you know, the government might do if they find themselves in a situation. Will they attempt to cut off, you know, access to Bitcoin? Will there be a war against it? This is what Raoul believes.
So let's go back to the last time we saw this, which was December 21st, 2018. The Fed just stopped and said, right, we're not going to increase the balance sheet. We're not going to raise rates any further, not going to decrease the balance sheet, not going to raise rates any further. Over the next 6 months, crypto was up 300%. So Bitcoin did 300 and something percent. The exponential age stocks, which are the really kind of growthy ARK style stocks, they were up about 30%. The NASDAQ was about 22%, something of that magnitude. The S&P was about 15%. So new all-time highs in the next 12 months or so, maybe a bit longer. NASDAQ gets there sooner because of its relationship. Crypto moves very fast. So if we go back to our conversation earlier about bank runs, and we said, you either kind of guarantee the system or you try and throttle it. My view is the US understands crypto, understands that it is the answer to the future, but they need to throttle it, because if you create the bank run on the entire system, then the unintended consequences are simply gigantic. That's kind of everybody losing their jobs, the entire system breaking apart, the entire system of the United States as being the world leader, or Europe, and all of this falls apart. They don't want that, but I think they understand that there is a future here, but there's a battle to get people across, because some people can't stand it, they don't like the idea of it, other people understand it but don't want it to happen too fast, and I get that. So I think that there will be an ongoing war. And if Balaji gets across what he wants to do, which is get more people to move out of the system into the Bitcoin market, we'll see the pushback coming. But it happens very quickly because the mob is pretty fast, as we know. And the mob with a hive mind who's deciding, let's go to the parallel financial system, they can move really fast. So the government's going to try and stop it. But, they do have, as Punk 6529 talks about, there is a freedom to transact here. You need the ability to do that. And if they go against that, then they're really trying to change the political spectrum entirely. And I think that the pushback would be so gigantic, but it is going to be a fight.
This is why the US needs to be careful.
Basically, what we know will happen is it will push innovation overseas. You will not be able to close Pandora's box now that it's been opened.
That whole mechanism plus Brexit meant that the world's capital markets went back to New York. And they've been in New York for the last 10 years or so. But the UK is looking like it wants to regulate crypto in a very sensible way. They understand regulatory arbitrage better than any country on earth. You see, once the US screws up and misses an opportunity, the UK has the rule of law, the language, the ability for Americans to go and live and work there. It's a global capital center. It's connected with Singapore, the Cayman Islands, Hong Kong, the UAE, all of the places that matter. It has a broader relationship on a less aggressive policy. So my guess is we don't know whether this government will last in the UK or not. But if it does, the UK will probably eat the US's lunch. And we'll see Coinbase, we'll see Kraken, we'll see Circle, we'll see everybody relocating to the UK, because it's an easy change to have. And don't forget, this is $1 trillion industry. It's $3 trillion at peak. What's it going to be at next peak? 5, 10 trillion, probably. So of course the UK wants it because it's lost relevancy. So the US has to be very careful what it does here.
With everything that has been happening with the banking crisis, Bitcoin proved again to be the safe haven for most investors, precisely like it was supposed to be.
It's definitely interesting when you look at Bitcoin, you look at the response to Bitcoin, you realize that the banks are obviously not really as transparent as they claim they are. And it's pretty crazy how crypto seems like a better alternative, and I understand in the US, maybe you don't really see that from the Western side because we always tend to just kind of put the Band-Aid on. But, there are a lot of countries that would actually benefit from this. ARK Invest had a newsletter that they put out, and they said that it is looking again like a safe haven. In the face of the US and European banking crisis, Bitcoin's price appreciation suggests that the lax regulatory oversight had no impact on the decentralized, transparent, and audible crypto asset ecosystem. They went on to say last week, when many banks were closed and others were facing bank runs, Bitcoin didn't skip a beat. It settled $33 billion, facilitated 600,000 transactions, issued 2,037 new Bitcoin at a steady and predictable rate, 1.8% inflation, 1 new million addresses, and generated $43 million for miners securing the network. So, doesn't look like Bitcoin's having any difficulty right now. And again, short-term speculation on Bitcoin has always been the deterrent. I will just say that, right? The reason that people don't like Bitcoin sometimes is this short-term horizon. How could it go from 15,000 to 20, down to 17, up to 30, right? It's crazy. You can't keep your money in something like this. It's too volatile. It's not stable. Well, yeah, on a shorter time frame, it's very volatile. But on a longer time frame, it consistently has outpaced every other option out there, right?
Remember when Crypto Zombie also talked about Michael Barr, who no one knows about.
And was allegedly behind an operation to unbank particular sectors in the past. Now, despite being funded by the Fed and accounting for as much as 12% of the Fed's total annual budget, the CFPB is not overseen by the Fed officials or any US politicians. They're basically allowed to just sort of be this rogue entity. Surprisingly, Michael Barr also included something for himself in this Dodd-Frank Act too. You know what it was? It was a new position, a newly created position at the Fed. Can you guess what position it was? That's right, guys. That's right, guys. It is the vice chair for supervision. He created a pretty much position for himself, essentially. So let's continue. So he made a speech regarding everything that was happening, and the timing was impeccable. Barr made his speech literally the day before the banking crisis really began to unfold. Very convenient, right? It's been suggested that he and his anti-crypto allies will use the situation to justify cutting down the crypto industry. Keeping stablecoins out of the banking system appears to be another key point. This is because crypto, and especially stablecoins, are a direct competitor to FedNow. And remember we said how convenient that all of a sudden they're just going to roll this out at the same time. FedNow is the Federal Reserve's forthcoming interbank payments platform. It's basically one step closer to the creation of a central bank digital currency. They also go on in this article to discuss the fact that American crypto users have been on the rise. And just to conclude this again, Barr concluded that crypto ultimately poses a threat to the banking sector. Yeah, for them, not for us, right? Crypto had nothing to do with this. This was not crypto causing the collapse of a bank. This was a bank directly affecting the peg of a stablecoin due to a bank run that could not be fulfilled on their part, even though Circle did everything they were supposed to do. So just got to point that out, guys.
And these are his final thoughts to close in this fantastic video. Want us to bring more crypto zombie content to the channel? Or do you know any other expert that does exceptional Bitcoin chart analysis or price predictions? Let us know in the comments below. And please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more curated daily crypto content like this. Thanks.